What's the worst way your maid of honor ruined your wedding? My maid of honor, Jenna, had always been intense. Not in a bad way, just the type who overplans everything. Color codes to cope with stress, keeps receipts from 3 years ago, just in case. But a few months before my wedding, her behavior shifted into something else entirely. It started with the binder. A massive 3-inch binder labeled Buy Your Wedding Master File. She brought it everywhere. Brunch, work, even a doctor's appointment once. Inside were tabs for dress fabrics, florals, video angles, lighting diagrams, crowd movement charts, and something called Contingencies AQ. Whenever I mentioned a detail, she'd snap the binder open like a lawyer prepping for trial. At first it felt flattering. She cared, then it became exhausting. If the florist suggested peonies, Jenna would quietly pull me aside afterward. They wilt in humidity. That choice suggests you aren't taking this seriously. If the photographer said he'd handle candids, Jenna would insist, unscripted moments are unpredictable. We need control. She vetoed decorations, insisted on choosing the playlist herself, even rewrote the officiant speech to optimize emotional impact. By the rehearsal dinner, everyone could feel it, the tension swirling around her like she was managing a Broadway show, not helping her best friend get married. My mom tried to gently intervene, but Jenna snapped, I'm the maid of honor. This is my job. Her eyes were too bright when she said it. Wedding morning came, and she was already in the bridal suite at 5:30 a.m., reorganizing everything the venue staff had touched. When the makeup artist arrived, Jenna stood over her shoulder, correcting her hand angles. She rearranged the bridesmaids by height, then rearranged them again by emotional warmth. No one knew what that meant. At 10 a.m., I finally pulled her aside. Jenna, you're stressing everyone out. You need to chill. She froze. Actually froze. Like a robot receiving a command it couldn't compute. Then she excused herself quietly. Binder clutched to her chest and disappeared into the bathroom. 5 minutes. 10, 20. When she still hadn't come out, my sister knocked. No answer. I went myself. Jenna, are you okay? Silence. I pushed the door open, my and stopped cold. Jenna was sitting on the tiled floor in her maid of honor dress. Binder open, pages scattered around her like fallen leaves. Her lipstick was smudged, eyes puffy, and she looked lost. Not upset. Blank. Like she wasn't fully in her body. She looked up at me and whispered, I can't find it. Find what? The mistake. Her voice cracked. There's always a mistake. She grabbed a page and shoved it toward me. It was a timeline of the day broken into 30-second increments. She pointed at a section circled in red marker. 11:52, 11:54. Bride anxiety spike. Resolve unknown. That's you, she said softly. You're panic. I planned everything except that. I felt ice crawl up my spine. She wasn't just planning my wedding. She'd been trying to plan my emotions. Predict them. Control them. And she was breaking because she couldn't. I knelt beside her carefully, unsure if she'd snap or cry again. Jenna, you don't have to manage me. Or the wedding. That's not your job. Her lip trembled. Tears spilled. It is, she whispered. If I don't, things fall apart. People fall apart. And then she told me something she never had. Her parents' divorce, the chaos, the screaming. How she'd been the one trying to keep everything together as a kid. How she failed. How she still believes every bad thing that happens around her is her fault for not planning better. Suddenly her obsessive binder made sense. But understanding it didn't fix what happened next. Because when the ceremony music started downstairs, Jenna stood up, wiped her face, and bolted. Not out the door, out of the venue. She disappeared. Photographers panicked. Bridesmaids scrambled. My mom sprinted down the hall in heels. The officiant stalled. Guests murmured. My fiancé paced behind the altar. I waited 5 humiliating minutes. 10, 12. Finally, the coordinator whispered, we need to begin. So I walked down the aisle alone. No maid of honor. No bouquet. She had it. No composure. Half the wedding had no idea what happened. The other half whispered about the drama. Jenna didn't show up again until midnight, long after the reception ended. She left her binder on my doorstep. Inside was a note. I'm sorry I ruined your wedding. I didn't know how to stop trying to fix things. And the worst part? Flipping through those color-coded pages, I realized she had predicted so many things. The shoe I'd trip on, the moment I'd cry during vows, even the guest who'd try to interrupt the first dance. But she never predicted her own breakdown. She'd planned for everyone's emotions except her own. That's how my maid of honor ruined my wedding. Not out of malice, but because she tried to control every second of a day, meant to be unpredictable and alive. And in doing so, she broke the one thing she was trying to protect, our friendship.